Limbaugh promises prosperity just around the corner. The old discredited Herbert Hoover litany. And, of course, we're always told a new bottom is in sight. Now stocks have bottomed. Now it's time to start buying. Don't believe it. Don't go into it. Let's also remember, when we hear Limbaugh, he's always saying, well, the founding fathers and our constitutional commitment to the free market system. Baloney. That's not how it happened. Again, look at people like John Winthrop, Massachusetts Bay Colony, 1630s, dirigist, protectionist, mercantilist, cameralist, not a free marketeer in any sense, mainly trying to get industry going against the economic warfare of the British. Look at Benjamin Franklin, a Leibnizian dirigist, the founder of the post office, which became a government operation, not some private. Look at U.S. history. Who builds the big things? And this is what we've got to think about now. If you want to have a recovery now, you've got to have a transcontinental magnetic levitation railway system. You've got to build fast, modern, attractive mass transit, urban mass transit in all the large cities, some of which have nothing. Try Houston or Dallas for places that have basically nothing. New York has something, but it's 100 years old and it's falling down, right? Los Angeles is trying. Chicago has a system also quite decrepit. But let's just look at it historically. The Erie Canal, okay? So you can go from the Hudson at Albany across to Lake Erie, over to Chicago, down the Mississippi. Built by government, built by the state of New York under DeWitt Clinton. The Erie Canal, one of the first ones. Then you can add the Illinois-Michigan Canal that gets you from Lake Michigan to the Illinois River. This is why New York is the city that it is where it is, because that's where you get into the Erie Canal system. And Chicago is where it is because that's where you get from the Erie Canal Great Lakes system into the Mississippi-Missouri complex. So the Erie Canal built by government. How about the Transcontinental Railway? Built by government, built by Abraham Lincoln, starting as a war measure during the Civil War to unite the country and prevent secession of California and other places that the British were eager to detach, along with the Transcontinental Railroad, of course, under the Morrill Act, the land-grant colleges, basically everybody's state university along the way, built by government based on the proceeds from the land sections that were then awarded to the railways, but also to the state governments along the way. Hey, all the patriots love the Panama Canal, built by government. Theodore Roosevelt let his hair down, and when you needed to do it, you couldn't rely on J.P. Morgan. You have to go and do it yourself. The greatest complex of hydroelectric production in the world at the time, Tennessee Valley Authority. All those hydroelectric dams, as much electricity as all of Germany. The entire Deutsches Reich had less electricity than the Tennessee Valley Authority alone, built by government, a New Deal program of Franklin D. Roosevelt. The cracking of the atom and the first atomic pile, Stagg Field, University of Chicago, Enrico Fermi, done by government. Nuclear energy is a government program, New Deal. National and Aeronautics Space Administration, first U.S. satellites, and then, as far as we know, putting human beings on the moon, done by government. The Internet, created by government. The whole computer microchip economy is essentially a spin-off of NASA and the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. We had the shameless ideologue, just about as bad as Limbaugh, Neil Cavuto of Fox Business News, comes on telling Hannity one afternoon this past week, oh, the Internet was built by good people, by good folks who wanted to build something. Wrong, Neil. Built by Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, and therefore by government. Do you get the picture? If you want to do the big stuff, it would be nice if private enterprise would do these things, but the fact is they don't. And rather than wait until the Greek kalends or until hell freezes over for some hedge fund hyena to get the idea of building a transcontinental maglev railway, or going into space, who's going to put the first city, an industrial city on the moon? Who's going to put the first industrial city on Mars? You think J.P. Morgan Chase is going to do that? No, they've got too many derivatives. They never do it. It's going to be government. All of this idiotic mythology that space is going to be privatized, out the window. So, knowing all this, if you want to have a stimulus package that gets you somewhere, it's got to make a change in the lives of people. In other words, artifacts, things of permanent value that would pass into the possession of the American people as a whole and make life easier. I can give you the lowdown here in Washington, D.C. Build the rail line from the West Falls Church metro stop all the way out to Dulles Airport and Vienna, from Vienna to Vienna, Virginia to Dulles Airport. So all those people in Fairfax County can take the subway to work rather than sitting in cars on Route 66 and Route 7, which is a nightmare. The other one, of course, is build the Purple Line, build the Circle Line around the outside of Washington, D.C. You'd probably want to build a rail line that would get you to BWI Airport. In other words, build the great works of infrastructure. Most obvious, build a magnetic levitation high-speed railroad from Richmond, Virginia to Boston, Massachusetts, and Bangor, Maine. Maglev, build one from Los Angeles to San Diego. Build one from Chicago to Detroit to Cleveland, and while you're at it, of course, build the big one, New York to San Francisco, with ramifications along the way. Magnetic levitation, high-speed rail. Rebuild the urban mass transit systems. That's stimulus. Build 100 nuclear reactors. And, of course, if the porculus, if the porculus has money for scientific research, great, we want it, and we want it increased by a factor of 10. Research into any kind of biomedical research, we need it. Who's going to keep those labs going? Do you want to live, or are you going to die for the greater glory of von Hayek, von Mises, and von Friedman, of all of these foreign economic schools, so alien and foreign to the American system, which is so inherently superior? Why would an American want to go abroad to these noxious foreign doctrines when you have the greatest school of political economy right here? It's the Hamiltonian, Lincoln, moral, New Deal, JFK school, and at the center of it is national banking, right? Nationalize the Federal Reserve and put it to good use. So that's the guide to the fight. Now, we'll be looking at the fight as it unfolds. Got to go to the Senate, got to go back to the conference committee. But that's the idea. We'll be back in a minute.